Hi, everyone. My name is Kilmer Calderon, and on behalf of my group, I'd like to welcome you to our presentation. Today, we'll be analyzing the movie called Intern, which was published in 2015. We'll be focusing on the HR issue, work life balance displayed in the movie. We are excited to share our insights and discuss how this topic connects to real world HR practices. Can everybody else introduce themselves?
I'm Landon Freeman.
My name is Caitlin Anguilla Gonzalez.
I'm Carson Knievi.
Mackenzie Banks.
And I'm Leandro Cups. All right, here's the movie overview by Kilmer Calderon.
Right. The movie was directed by Nancy Meyers. The Intern, as I mentioned before, it came out in 2015. The Intern follows Ben Whitaker, a 70-year-old widower who joins a fast-growing online fashion startup as an intern. The film explores generational differences, workplace adaptation, and modern work culture, showing how experience, empathy, and emotional intelligence can enhance team dynamics. Through Ben's mentorship and the company's founder Jules Austin's ongoing struggle to balance her demanding career and family life, the story brings forward the HR issue our group will be analyzing: work-life balance. The intern demonstrates how human resources practices such as promoting flexibility, open communication, and employee well-being are essential to achieving a healthy work-life balance and sustaining organizational success.
All right. And one of the main issues that we're going to be talking about is work-life balance, obviously, and employee burnout issues that leads to. There are a lot of good scenes and examples in this movie that show a lack of work-life balance and employee burnout. And one of the best examples in this movie is the CEO, who is one of the main characters. There are multiple scenes where she struggles with maintaining a good work-life balance in this company. There are scenes where she is up late at night sending emails, on the phone constantly, and neglecting her life outside of work. And this leads to burnout for her and some of her employees also. And her struggling to deal with some of her work responsibilities also is one of the main conflicts in this movie. We can also see it in her assistant in a scene where her assistant is showing symptoms of employee burnout from a bad work-life balance, where she is seen being overworked and exhausted. And relating this back to what we've learned in HR management in Chapter 2, we discussed how work-life balance is one of the main employee concerns at a company. And a lot of this can stem from organizational culture and the company strategy, which I'll go into further. So some of the underlying causes of bad work-life balance are the company's startup culture in this movie. It promotes an always-on mentality, and a lot of the employees, and especially the CEO, the leadership style of the CEO, Jules, she has poor delegation habits and micromanages a lot of her employees, which leads to her being overworked herself. There's also a lack of a formal HR structure for workload management and employee wellness in this movie and in this company. And finally, there's also an absence of clear boundaries between work and personal life between the CEO and a lot of her employees as well. And we have a clip that shows just a small example of this issue.
I noticed my internship keeps busy.
Mr. Congeniality, he's a very big hit. Okay, do not look at that desk. It's like the office junk drawers. You just did that. What are you, preparing for surgery?
Okay, seriously? Like, how did this even happen? Oh my God, somebody cleaned up that desk. I swear I was gonna stay late and do this myself.
Wasn't me.
Ben came in at 7 this morning and did it.
Who?
Ben Whitaker. Someone's very happy.
Brilliant, thank you. Best thing that's happened around here all week.
Thank you.
So for the first solution that we identified, it's involved with the leadership development and delegation training, which directly targets the root cause of Jules's burnout. that being her inability to let go of control and trust others to share responsibility. In the movie, Jules handles every decision herself, no matter how small, because she feels personally accountable for every aspect of the company's success. This level of micromanagement doesn't just exhaust her, it slows down operations, limits her employees' growth, and it creates a bottleneck where everything depends on one person. A structured leadership development program could help Jules build the confidence and skill set she needs to delegate effectively. This type of training would teach her how to identify the right people for key tasks, how to set clear expectations, and how to follow up without hovering. HR could also organize, executive coaching sessions that focus on emotional intelligence, communication, and resilience, which are three essential traits for sustainable leadership. These sessions could also teach stress management techniques and strategies for prioritizing what truly matters. This could also tie into incorporating a 360-degree feedback where Jules receives confidential input from her peers, her subordinates, and her mentors. This type of feedback helps leaders gain self-awareness and understand how their behaviors affect others. In Jules's case, it could reveal how her perfectionism and tendency to overwork influences her team's motivation and stress levels. When leaders develop this awareness, they become more open to adjusting their lifestyle to build trust and empowerment across the organization. Beyond just the personal development aspect, delegation training benefits the company as a whole. When leaders share responsibility, employees feel more ownership over their work, engagement increases, and creativity flourishes. Not to mention that delegation also improves decision making because multiple perspectives are considered rather than everything going through just a single person. And Caitlin will give you solution two.
Okay, so next we have solution two, which focuses on creating a healthier and more sustainable leadership structure by empowering the mid-level leaders. So this solution is going to consist in building a stronger organizational structure that supports both the leadership and the employee well-being. So by redefining responsibilities and giving the department leads greater ownership, the company can reduce its dependence on a single individual. So this approach is also going to create room to introduce a chief operating officer or a COO, which can oversee the daily operations, which would allow the CEO to dedicate more time to its strategic vision and the long-term growth. So with the clear communication channels and a more empowered team, decisions will be made more efficiently and the employees will gain the confidence to start acting independently. So in the end, the structure will allow the CEO to achieve more of a balance, the staff to gain clarity, and the organization to function a little bit more sustainable across every level. And now I'll pass it over to Mackenzie for the next slide.
All right, so solution three is implementing an on-site employee support specialist. So this would kind of be a crossover between somebody like an HR representative and like an internal therapist for employees to come to in a neutral and approachable space. This will give them the time to talk about both their personal and work life, and just be able to really relieve some of that stress, because as seen in the intern, the CEO would put a lot of her stress of her work and personal life on the intern and other employees. So this just gives that safe space to give somebody the time to really vent out their problems to a trusted and relied person within the company. And then also having that be an internal job. As you can see, like the CEO, she didn't really have time to really go out and get therapy outside. So having an internal option gives her the time to really do that while still working. So I will pass it to Leandro for the best of all the solutions.
All right, thank you so much. So for the best solution, we as a group found the solution two was to be by far the best. The main reason for this is because the issue throughout the movie is about stress and strain and burnout throughout the organization, which is very apparent in the CEO, Jules, and her assistant, like mentioned before. So solution two redistributes the workload through delegation, like we said, incorporating a chief operating officer, as well as leads throughout each entire department that would watch different sectors, like a little extra manager underneath the chief operating officer. It would also have a clearer structure and also help by empowering others, maybe helping them with performance to get into that lead position. So in contrast, solution one improves how leaders lead, but doesn't actually lighten their load. There's still too many problems in the departments. There's too many departments as well for the leadership. There's not much leadership you can even see throughout the movie. Solution three supports employees' emotions, but doesn't fix the organizational imbalance causing stress. There's still going to be a chance that when the company grows, Jules will be stressed again and still tend to micromanage. So instead of maybe doing an HR specialist, maybe the chief operating officer would be the better way to go, which is why we chose solution 2. So solution 2 targets structural cause, not just emotional outcome, trying to re-implement, a better structure throughout the whole entire company. So when it grows, it'll still be operating good, as well as immediate measurable impact. So as soon as you implement a chief operating officer and leads, you can see each department's going to start flourishing a little bit better, and the company would not be bottlenecked with its current problems, as well as long-term sustainability. If they were to branch more into the global markets, the company, that's a huge stress to take on for smaller companies. So long-term sustainability, the company can still grow. Thus, in the short term, like already mentioned by Caitlin, there's going to be CEO gains a good work-life balance. There's going to be the staff gains a lot of more clarity on their job, and as well as leadership becomes more sustainable across all levels with solution 2. Thank you so much for listening to our PowerPoint. This is the solution we found for the Intern movie.